Mesmeric Orb into play, and then Basalt Monolith into play, you can tap the Monolith to untap itself as many times as you want, mill your whole deck, and set up a fairly standard Dread Return combo with Narcomoebas. In this case, getting back Sharoom the Hegemon. You get back your Sharoom the Hegemon, gets back Blasting Station, and then you can actually just sacrifice and make an infinite number of shots with Narcomoeba. It's a pretty crazy combo, capable of winning on the second turn, because turn 1, Ancient Tomb, Mesmeric Orb, turn 2, Basalt Monolith. That's it. That's all you need. Literally, Ancient Tomb, any land, and then Basalt Monolith and Mesmeric Orb is a turn 2 kill. Versus Hypergenesis, which, as we know, I mean, is this Hypergenesis?
You want to talk about turn 2 kills?
Yeah.
I know a little something here about turn 2 kills, because I have 4 Surprise and Scary, 3 Hickory Woodlot, and 1 Remote Farm. Those are dual depletion lands, is what those are. It will enable a turn 2 Hypergenesis or a turn 2 Show and Tell, putting Omniscience in play. And the Hypergenesis, like what kind of big dummies does he have in this deck? Just 4 Emrakul, 3 Progenitus, 2 Terastodon, 3 Angel of Despair, and 4 Gristlebrand. Like, not a big deal.
Is that it?
Oof. So if you think we're in for a long match here?
No.
Buckle down?
No.
Get a little comfy?
What do you think? 10 turns for the match?
Ooh, now this could be fun. All right, I set the line at 10.5 turns. Do you want the over or under?
10.5 per, right?
10.5
per player.
Yes.
I'll take the over. I think one of the 3 games is going to stall out. I think it's going to go to 3, and I think one of them is going to be a drug out affair that goes to like 6 or 7 turns.
All right.
It's going to be close, so that's a good line.
Ponder here from Jeff. And he does keep it.
Right.
I see a Force of Will over there.
Both players playing Force of Will, helping ensure that this match actually lasts 10 turns.
As we see a Surprise and Scary.
Oh, setting up the turn 2 kill.
Setting up the turn 2 kill.
How sick is that? One little Mercadian Mask land, and we're looking at a turn 2 kill.
That's funny because a lot of people don't actually know what Surprise and Scary does, or Remote Farm or Hickory Woodlot. So we're going to bring the Surprise and Scary up on the screen. There's a cycle of these in Mercadian Mask, which was, as we see a Mesmeric Orb here, we got a reader. We got a reader.
Definitely got a reader. And I love that, not even like pretending like I want to just take a glance to double check. It's the straight up, let me put this right in front of me and analyze every word on the text here. Anybody who plays a card that you don't know the text of, you got to assume they're going to kill you next turn. This is Legacy.
Absolutely. We have a Gristlebrand.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is one of those matchups where being on the play is a big deal.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So now James is thinking to himself, all right, well, I've got Show and Tell, I've got turn 2. Am I supposed to go for it? Am I not supposed to go for it?
Does he have Art in play, though?
He has a Shardless Agent in his hand. He also has Show and Tell in his hand. And I see at least 1 Grizzlebrand floating around. So now, you know, what am I going to go for it? Which angle am I going to go for? Now things get a little bit more dicey. See James searching. We see him search for a Savannah. Risen in stock a little bit since Maverick has started to reign supreme.
It's interesting because even though Gates' Hypergenesis combo would put Jeff Liu's combo into play, Jeff Liu can't win until his main phase through the milling.
Yep. As we see.
Show and Tell. We're going to see a Grizzlebrand. Grizzlebrand then has the nice feature of letting him search up a Force of Will.
That's correct. As we see a Force of Will here for Brainstorm.
And Jeff doesn't know what monster's coming down. All he knows is that he doesn't like it.
No thanks. I prefer if that did not happen. All right. So Force of Will is going to resolve.
Casually, showing
Mesmeric Orb going to mill Jeff for 2. 2 lands to the bin, drawing a card for the turn.
Possibly. Remember, he has Limdol's Vault in his hand. What he might want to do if he doesn't have a land is Limdol's Vault in his upkeep. Search all the way through his deck until he finds a Basalt Monolith and a land. Put the land on top, draw it this turn, play that land. Next turn he has Basalt Monolith. We got another reader.
Yeah,
this is going to be a nice one.
That's me. With how fast you just sell all that stuff.
Limdol's Vault, a particularly sick Vampiric Tutor variant. Even though it costs 2, it also can give you a land. So even when you find the cards you want, you might want to keep going. Now it's interesting, he's actually, we got to be careful, he has to put those cards in the correct order. He's putting them upside down. The top 5 should be at the bottom, which does matter if he loops all the way through his deck, which does happen sometimes. But he is keeping, so now he's going to shuffle.
Okay.
Yeah, it only is relevant if you go all the way through your deck. but you do have to make sure if you go through your entire deck that they're in the right order.
Got it. And
So the fact that he kept pretty much implies that there's a Basalt Monolith and a land.
so he gets to order.
Or
He gets to order the top 5.
He does.
Correct? Okay.
He does. The rest of the deck will be shuffled, but he gets to order the top 5.
Okay.
What's also a little bit fun, in this matchup where he knows Gates doesn't really have any removal, he can put his Narcomoeba on top. Remember, he has to put enough cards on top so that the milling doesn't mill his combo.
Sure.
And if he mills his Narcomoebas with Mesmeric Orb, they come straight into play.
That's
Just
true.
a free little bit of value.
That's a little sick interaction.
Which is nice if he has like a Wall Therapy on top, because he can get a free discard spell.
As we see, James mills an Emrakul and a Shardless Agent for Mesmeric Orb. And so now they're getting clarification because you untap the permanents and then each Mesmeric Orb trigger is separate. So he would mill the Emrakul first, and then he would mill the Shardless Agent second, resolving each one at a time. So they're just getting clarification on when exactly am I supposed to shuffle. Am I supposed to shuffle with the Emrakul there, or am I supposed to shuffle with the Shardless Agent there?
Shardless Agent, a particularly sick addition to Cascade strategies as a result of the Commander product. Is it Commander or the or was it in the other one, the multiplayer one? Not
this one was
not the multiplayer, the Planeswalking one. Wasn't there another one?
I know what you're talking about. It's like the
Plane Chase.
Yes, I think it was in that one. As we are having a slight delay, we're going to get some things figured out. Obviously, we want to get the board states correct. This isn't something that really comes up often, as you know.
Can we pull a Shardless Agent up for everybody to see?
And now the judge is a reader, which is fair. Most people don't see Mesmeric Orb during a Legacy tournament.
Another 3-mana Cascade card. This one has the upside of being blue for pitching to Force of Will, and it's another body. I mean, Violent Outburst, usually one of the best possible Cascade cards, but now, with so many good options, might as well just play all blue cards for your Force of Will.
Yeah. So this one's going to go there. All right, judge sorting it. I'm not going to try to predict the future. Let's see if I can get everything right.
Yeah. So we see, first the Emrakul trigger is going to mean everything gets shuffled back. Then there's going to be one more Mills trigger on the stack.
Yep. And now Progenitus gets revealed, and that's getting shuffled in too. So James is going to get a little bit of exercise there.
Absolutely, and this is going to be happening pretty much every turn.
Yes.
It's interesting to see how the popularity of Emrakul in particular, but to a lesser degree cards like Progenitus, have led to Painter Grindstone not really being a main deck thing anymore.
You literally just read my mind. I was going to say the exact same thing. Those cards have really just made that strategy completely obsolete. It's not something that you can actually do now.
Like Nicolas Cage, I looked at the conversation we had 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
And then went back and just plagiarized you. So Gates still with multiple win-the-game threats. Jeff Liu threatening to win the game next turn himself.
All right, so there goes the surprise and scary. Those 2 depletion counters are gone, depleted, if you will. And now he's going to play Windswept Heath.
You can never be too sure that, you might as well play your own days.
Yeah, if you can, you might as well. And now we have a reader on this end for Jeff.
Oh.
Taking a look at Shardless Agent.
Oh, okay. Let me take a look at this. Oh, Cascade. I know what that word means.
That's all you need to know, my friend. And here we go.
Omniscience, Bristlebrand. Somehow I'm suspecting we're just going to keep going until he gets to Hypergenesis.
Quite the read. Predicting the future again, are you?
Yeah. That one's not even 5 minutes from now.
James taking its time. Going by all these beautiful fetch lands and expensive threats. Into Despair. Remote Farm. Ardent Plea. There's a Hyper G.
What do you think of only playing 2 Hypergenesis?
I think the 3 would be too many because you don't want to draw one L ever. So I feel like 2 is okay. And plus, when he has Show and Tell in his deck, he has 4 copies of that as well. I think that.
So he's got a backup plan.
Yeah, he's got a backup plan that is reliable.
Well, the other backup plan, of course, is Emrakul, right? Like, if he can ever get his Emrakul to the graveyard by cascading, it'll trigger so that the next cascade can actually hit a Hypergenesis, even if the first 2 are gone.
Correct. So he puts in a Griselbrand.
Oh, Hypergenesis results. Jeff Liu, probably not a lot of action on his side.
He's going to put in a Presence Scary as well.
Now remember, he cannot activate Griselbrand in the middle of the resolution of Hypergenesis, no matter how much you may want to. Jeff Liu again passes. Nothing to put into play. Does Gates have an Angel of Despair?
Nope. I see an Ardent Plea, I see a Hypergenesis, and I see a Griselbrand.
Alright, so it looks like that's it.
Ponder, Narcomoeba. Narcomoeba comes into play.
Which could be relevant if it has to block, you know?
Yep. Is he just passing the turn back? No, I can't imagine that. Okay.
Yeah, probably going to see a Basil Monolith in an attempt to win the game.
I was going to say, I can't imagine just passing back at this point.
What an action-packed couple of turns. This Hypergenesis deck cannot possibly be fair.
No. Not even close to fair. Not even close. As we are going to see him tap for 3. Basalt Monolith is here.
Ooh, another reader.
We're going to read that one.
We got readers back and forth. Now keep in mind, Basil Monolith does not have the errata that it once did that prevented it from untapping itself. So with Mesmeric Orb, every time he taps it and untaps it, he can just mill a card. So at will, he can just mill cards from his deck.
And so he says, I'm going to do this a bunch. I'm just going to do this a couple of times.
Now, every so often he's going to hit Emrakul, and he's going to have to shuffle everything back, but he's eventually going to get all of his Narcomoebas in play, and he's eventually going to be able to, like, if he wants, he can actually just skip on the Narcomoebas until he finds a Cabal Therapy. Remember, he's got access to how many Cabal Therapies does he use?
Cabal Therapy is 4.
And he can stack his Narcomoebas over and over and over again, so even though he needs 3 of the Narcomoebas to cast Dread Return, he can still use 4 Narcomoebas to Cabal Therapy Gates as many times as he wants. The thing is, Gates doesn't need to actually draw any cards until Jeff tries to Dread Return. And Jeff can actually only Dread Return 1 time.
Okay. So this could be an issue, actually. Like, it's not a lock that he goes off right now.
It is certainly not a lock. I mean, he's going off, but it's not a lock he won't fizzle. And it's not a lock that Gates actually draws a Force of Will off the Griselbrand.
He's going to get 2 activations off Griselbrand, so he's going to get to see 14 cards.
Now,
which is nice, but...
Yeah, the main thing is that Jeff's going to keep doing this. He's trying to demonstrate to the judge he can do this as many times as he wants. He may actually have to show Gates his entire deck, because technically Gates will be gaining more and more information each time.
Yeah.
So it may be that the only way that they let Jeff put all of his Narcomoebas in play is by showing Gates the deck, unless he wants to physically go through the motions.
I'm interested to see why they stopped him right now.
Well, one of the annoying things about this 4 Horsemen loop is that the loop takes a long time and is not a completely bounded loop. This can constitute slow play. Sounds like Jeff may have been warned to avoid slow play, and Jeff's trying to explain, no, this is what I have to do.
Well,
the burden is still on him to make sure that the match plays, proceeds in a timely fashion.
I guess his opponent is allowed to shuffle his deck. Okay.
All right.
Yes, because he wasn't presenting his deck. Are they going to make... Oh, my.
They should not make him actually
tap it each time. They should make him tap it every single time.
Now, this is one area where the players can agree to a shortcut. It is ludicrous that they are making him physically turn the card sideways, though. Of course, it could just be that it hasn't occurred to him to ask. All right, so now he wants the Cabal Therapy, see what Gates is working with, knowing that Griselbrand is in play. Names Force of Will, not surprisingly.
Narcomoeba in play. This is no short loop, my friends.
No.
Cabal Therapy. Interesting that he's going to use this one. James considering Am I okay with that one resolving? Should I do something about that one? Should I activate Griselbrand? Sure. Name away, my friend. He's going to name Dread Return targeting himself. Okay. Force. This guy. Narcomoeba. We're going to take a look at Shroom the Hegemon.
James, if he's not familiar, trying to piece together what is the kill card, surely it must be an artifact. You don't just Shroom for nothing. Now, even though the Dread Return is getting shuffled back into the deck, he can mill himself at will. So as long as it's not in his hand, he has access to it. The tough thing, of course, is that if Gates has a Force of Will and a blue card in his top 14 cards, he can shut down the combo.
There's Cabal Therapy. So right now he's just looking for a third Narcomoeba. And then on the next iteration, he'll be looking for a Dread Return.
I think in this position, I would actually Cabal Therapy Gates and take his Ardent Plate.
Just to remove a blue card for Force of Will.
And in case this goes sour, you don't want Gates to have access to a Cascade card with Griselbrand in play. He's going to have a bunch of fatties. Now, it's possible he'll just draw another one, but it's also possible that he just needs the Cabal Therapies. We'll see. Oh, then again, he actually he'll actually just want to wait, because when this does eventually go sour, he's going to want to Cabal Therapy Gates multiple times in order to ensure that there are no Cascades coming next turn.
Yep.
I think it's very possible that neither player will win for the next couple of turns.
Yeah, I think
we're just going to see some crazy stuff going on.
So there's the Dread Return. There's the Emrakul. Let's do this again.
Now, Jeff is doing his part to play this match in a timely fashion. He is moving with the quickness.
I can definitely tell he understands how his
There's
deck
the blasting station.
If you'd like to read that,
proactive,
you can.
Go ahead. Let me just let me let you read this one right now, so you know what's going on here. Save ourselves the time. Now he's looking for both Shroom and Dread Return, and he's going to just keep doing this until, because the Evergirl makes him start over each time, but he's going to keep doing this until he finds Dread Return and the Shroom.
Now I know James pretty well, and I can tell you one thing: they're going to play this game out.
Yes,
there
they
will not
are.
be a concession for James.
No question. There's the Dread Return. Now, hoping just to save us all the time that he hits Shroom before either Emrakul. There it is.
There it is.
All right. It's going down. So,
Dread Return.
Dread Return. Time to see some Griselbrand. Gates.
I'm going
intuiting this is the moment to make a move.
I'm going to activate Griselbrand.
It's not fully clear what you're doing, but if there's one thing I know, it's that Dread Return is not okay.
Yes. Two. The first two cards are Force of Will. There's an Ardent Play. A Show and Tell.
Wow. This is
Charlotte's Agent, and
not even going to have to draw 7 more. This is a real bad spot for Jeff to be in. And it's super valuable for Gates that he was able to do this on the first 7, because now, even if he gets Mind Twisted, which he will from the Cabal Therapies that are going to keep coming, he's still going to have another draw 7 in case he needs to stop him from doing something next turn. Now, what's interesting, though, Jeff can't Dread Return anymore.
Correct.
But he does have 6 mana. So he can just cast Shroom as long as he has at least 1 white mana in his deck, which he does. He has 1 Tundra.
Okay. So he's going to Cabal Therapy James.
It's also interesting that Jeff is going to have 4 Narcomoebas every turn.
And then Jeff is going to concede. Basically, what's going to end up happening, there's really no way for him to really be able to go off at that point, I think, because James is going to hit him with Griselbrand.
No, he won't.
Why won't he?
Narcomoeba will block.
Well, he sacrificed the Narcomoeba to Cabal Therapy.
Doesn't matter. He has unlimited Narcomoebas.
So he can go get him again?
Yeah, at all times he can get 4 Narcomoebas as many times as he wants.
Okay. So he won't hit him with Griselbrand that turn.
But James is going to draw 7 a turn.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean he's got it won.
Sure, I think the game would take a little bit longer.
And he's just concerned about making sure that he has as much time, because we've already used 19 minutes. He just wants to make sure he can finish this match.
I feel like time is part of it. I feel like another thing is that while Jeff can recycle Narcomoebas, James can recycle Force of... he can recycle Force of Wills.
But he's only drawing 7 a turn.
Sure, I mean, he's only drawing 7 a turn, so like he was at 12, he's going to go up to 19 from his attack. So he can draw min 7, max 14. So he can basically find It's not a guarantee, of course, but he can find at least one Force of Will off of the 2 activations to counter what's relevant each time, and then he can just either discard Emrakul or discard Progenitus to be able to recycle those Force of Wills and just do it.
Not the Progenitus, just the Emrakul.
Yes, just the Emrakul. Thank you.
Yep. No, and no question. In that spot, it looks like James had it fairly locked up. One of those probably actually only like 98%ers, but Jeff figuring that he gets more value from conceding and making sure he can actually win. And then we saw how long it took him in game 1 to go through the motions.
So now, taking a look at Jeff's sideboard, because he's going to be on the play first, you predicted the future. We talked about it. You can see it right here. 4 Painter Servant, 4 Grindstone. This is not the match for that.
No.
This is not where you want to be there. And there's also 4 Show and Tells, which is exactly what James wants to happen. 2 Emrakuls, and then an Angel of Despair.
It's interesting that Jeff, rather than any sort of an interactive sideboard whatsoever, just has 2 different backup plans, neither of which is good against Emrakul.
Yes. So 2 transformational sideboard plans, neither of which are actually good against James's deck. So this is going to be interesting.
He's probably just going to play the initial 75.
I could see him sideboarding in the Angel of Despair, just so that when James does cast Hypergenesis or Show and Tell, you know, I put an Angel, you put in whatever, Angel's going to blow it up unless it's Progenitus, because Angel is able to actually blow up every other card that James can put into play. It can blow up Emrakul, it can blow up Terastodon, it can blow up Omniscience, it can blow up Gristlebrand, it can blow up opposing Angel of Despairs. So this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be pretty similar to game 1. What does James have on his end?
So James has got a shocking amount of interaction for a guy who can't play with 1 or 2 casting cost spells. He has Leyline of the Void, which is devastating against Jeff's strategy. He has no way to get rid of it and no way to go off through it. Additionally, Gates has Misdirection, which can counter other Force of Wills, and Vendilion Click, which can obviously pull combo pieces or take Force of Wills. Plus he has Oblivion Ring, which could break up the combo. I think Gates could realistically transform into a control deck and will have a massive advantage after sideboarding. And when I say control deck, we're still talking about a control deck that can win on the 2nd turn.
Yes.
Although realistically, a Leyline of the Void is a turn 0 kill in this matchup. As a matter of fact, he's probably, in anticipation of Leyline of the Void, he probably actually has to board in one of those other sideboard plans.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has to.
And now Painter Servant Grindstone just won't work. Yeah,
Painter Servant Grindstone is not an option. Show and Tell is something that he can board into, but again, that's not the best option. That's what James wants to happen.
I think this matchup's going to be, this is going to be awful for Jeff game 2 and 3.
Yeah, this seems like an absolute nightmare.
Now his deck is so fast, and James Gates' deck's prone to failure. It is possible that he'll win one of the 2 just on, you know, killing on the 2nd or 3rd turn when Gates falls apart, if Gates falls apart. But I think Gates can actually afford to mulligan very liberally. So I think this one's going to be a 2-0 in favor of James.
And this could easily be a match, well, this particular game, excuse me, this could be a situation where James is just like, yep, I'm going to mulligan into Leyline of the Void. And if I hit it, I don't think you can win.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to go all the way. If he gets to a Force of Will in a turn 2 kill or something, he's got a ton of great options in addition to the Leyline of the Void, which is an auto win.
Yes. So we know that Jeff's back is against the wall. I don't think that he knows that, but this is going to be interesting to see what happens here.
Well, I actually think Jeff probably has a better idea that his back is against the wall than Gates. Gates probably doesn't realize that Jeff doesn't have any bounce for the Leyline.
Sure.
So Gates probably can't actually afford to mulligan all the way to 0 for the Leyline. And as we saw, he does not have a Leyline.
So we're switching to the Painter
Servant Grindstone. I don't. Yeah, looking at the list, that doesn't. I mean, Painter Servant can beat down for 1 a turn, but he gets blocked by a Shardless Agent.
He has Show and Tell in his hand too. I think he's just all over the place now. Unless I'm missing something, he's just all over the place. Because Show and Tell. All right, here we go. You can tell this is something James is going, whoa, where's this coming from?
What? Painter Servant. You don't say.
He's gonna force this.
Well, keep in mind, Gates is probably feeling like, yeah, things are going pretty well. I just don't want to, like, I know I'm not going to lose that Painter Servant in play. I just don't want to lose to, like, who knows what he puts in play with Show and Tell. If he puts a Grizzlebrand in play or something like that, I'm just done.
see what James draws. James draws a Griselbrand.
Do you think this is going to be the old counter your show and tell, then cast show and tell with my own?
Yeah, I actually do. Or cast Hypergenesis, something to that effect.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just waits on it, because if Jeff was so eager to put to cast show and tell, he might just cast another one.
Yeah.
And let him do the dirty work for you.
It's interesting, right? Because James drew Griselbrand this turn, so maybe his hand just didn't have anything where he was like happy with the show and tell resolving, or Hypergenesis type effect. But now that he drew Griselbrand for the turn, he's like, all right, let's do it. Griselbrand has been known to change a few things.
Yes!
Yeah.
Show and tell? No.
You don't show and tell for me.
Let me show and tell.
I don't need your help.
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
Omniscience, Emrakul,
Oh no.
and here we
Well, this is it.
go.
I mean, this is it. Gates is going to do everything this turn. His spells are free.
Give me
Hit me, dealer.
7 new cards. 5, 6, 7. Well, that was a crappy one. That was an Endilion Click of Forcible and 5 lands.
Wow.
That's what that was. And we're gonna, now we're reading Emrakul.
We got a reader.
A card that we have 4 of in our own deck.
Tough but fair.
Yeah. I believe we're gonna have to go to the well once more.
Gates, considering if there's anything he's supposed to do first, or because he does have Shardless Agent, but he doesn't really have a lot to put into play. Not that it even matters, given that he has Omniscience in play.
Yeah, Hypergenesis is unnecessary at this point. What Gates needs to do is, I mean, find an Emrakul, but just find something. Angel of Despair will do it. Oblivion Ring will do it. You see an Omniscience, Emrakul, Angel. Yeah, all of those cards that I named were off of that one.
All right, well now we're in much better shape.
Yes.
Put down a Leyline of the Void, and you've ensured no counterplay.
So we're going to see Angel of Despair. Boom. Oh yes, that can happen.
All right, fair enough. Still gonna have to shuffle it back.
How do you feel about Angel of Despair on the Emrakul as opposed to the Oblivion Ring? Because you can Angel of Despair the Ancient Tomb, for example, or the Island. Or
Yeah,
you can Angel of Despair those.
Yeah, I kind of like Angel Despairing. Then again, he might want to just be saving the Oblivion Ring for the as a backup, maybe.
Okay.
Because like the last thing he wants is for Jeff to somehow get rid of the Oblivion Ring, like with a bounce spell.
Then
so
again,
the Emrakul trade with each other. But I don't think it matters at this point.
Yeah,
and that's the match.
That's going to do it. Emrakul's going to let him take an extra turn, and he's going to get in for a copious amount of damage. So James Gates with Hypergenesis takes down Jeff Liu
Turn
playing
3
4
kill.
Horsemen.
Turn 3 kill, and what was it in turn 1? It was a turn 3 kill.
Yeah.
So six turns from Gates. Well, winning.
Best format ever.